Well,
I'm here.
should
I'm
have been the
here.
other way around.
We brought you on.
Yeah, I just saw that. So, guys. So, anyway, so there gonna be some technical difficulty, guys. As I'm using a few different new softwares, and supposedly overall it's gonna enhance the overall experience. So we'll see how that goes, but it's a learning curve for sure. But without further ado, guys, Will Higgins, thank you so much for joining us here today. Obviously, sorry for the hiccups, but yeah, we're super excited to learn from you and hear what you've got to say.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Well, happy to be here, and I'm an open book always. So excited to get started.
All right, awesome. So, Will, obviously, before we get into the nitty gritty of at least what we like to get to here into the tech and the marketing, advertising stuff, I definitely would like to hear a little bit about some of your origin story. Obviously, you haven't been doing real estate forever. So, yeah, and there's a lot of new agents just coming in, and with the number of agents that probably just left. So, what are
Yeah.
some hurdles to watch out for? Some things to look into before jumping in and don't this is a thing for you? Because I know that you probably went through it a few years ago.
Yeah, so the good news is my origin story is similar to a lot of people's, right? So I started in another career before getting into real estate. So I took the traditional path, went to, undergrad, went to grad school, got a degree, actually got an MBA in marketing, and then went
Wow.
off and worked. So I worked for 12 years in corporate America. Just got tired of moving around so much, got tired of someone else being in control of my destiny, and always in the back of my mind like really wanted to try out real estate. So I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday, but me and a buddy of mine, we were sitting at Chipotle, and we said, you know what, there's nobody in this area that looked like us doing real estate, and we think that we could kill it. So right then and there we made the decision, and I literally fast tracked my licensing, and I got licensed within a month of that sit down,
Wow.
and got got right to business, man. And then shortly after, probably a year after getting licensed and doing it part time, I got laid off from my full time job and immediately went full time, man. And one of my mentors told me, "Hey, never, basically develop a lifestyle until you can maintain it." Well, working in corporate America for 12 years, I had a lifestyle, so I had to maintain it. So a lot of things I did to succeed was out of necessity and hunger. And again, I know a lot of people can probably feel that, and they're going through a lot of that.
Especially right now, all the new laws that are going into place and regulations for agents overall.
Mhm.
What was that struggle for you? Because it obviously sounds like a calling. Right here, you are trying something just came into your peripherals, and all of a sudden you lose your job, and it forces you to take an action that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have. So, what were some of those actions that you were taking when you first got started?
Yeah, so when I first got started, man, I needed to go fast. So I actually joined a team. I joined a team, and the team that the reason why I picked that team, first of all, it was like the top agent in my area, but also it wasn't one of the teams like the teams today where they were basically they're Zillow based, right? And they're just giving you leads. No, I joined this guy because he had a session one day. It was like a recruiting session, but in that session he mentioned that everyone on his team, they were like the green berets of real estate, right? So he said, anybody on my team, you can drop them into any market, parachute them into any market like they're a green beret, and within 60 to 90 days they're going to be making money. I said, that's who I need to be with. So
Yeah.
over the next year and a half, I sat right outside that guy's office, and I tried everything, and I listened to every conversation he had and practiced scripts. And that's literally my origin story. That's how it all began for me.
Wow. Okay. Really cool. I mean, I love the whole Green Beret mindset because, again, it really, when you've got your back against the wall and you've got nothing really giving, like no handouts, it really forces you to perform, to get outside your comfort zone. And it sounds like that definitely was you. What was that for you? I mean, was that making calls? Was that door knocking? What were some of those things that you were told to do, or the ones that actually worked?
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, everything works, right? It's just you got to find out what works for you. So a lot of the things I tried, and here's another thing: everything I tried, I did it for free. So I was like, I'm not putting any money into any of this stuff. I'm doing it all for free. So I literally built a dialer in in Excel. So I built a dialer in Excel. So there's a formula you can use, and you can make every number a clickable link. And I literally would just click links and dial and dial and dial. So so that was the first thing. So I cold called. So I cold called first. I did open houses, but also I talked to people. I told everybody that I was getting into real estate, what I was doing, and I just started building a list. Because here's the thing: I worked in corporate America in sales for 12 years. And when I transitioned into real estate, um, everything was transferable. And then I saw a gap. I'm like, okay, all I have to do is follow up, and all the stuff they preached at the company about CRMs and all that other stuff. Now I'm getting to use that stuff for me and my benefit. So everything I did, man, was 100% transfer. And the things that I did in the beginning were, again, cold calling, open houses. That was it. I never. I'm a 6'2" black guy in a mostly Asian neighborhood, so no one's answering their door. So door knocking did not work.
Ah, okay, but not for lack of trying. It sounds like.
Right. And again, like I said, everything works. So I've door knocked before, but anytime I door knock, it's going to be 100% like targeted. So the first house I door knocked actually got the listing because I had sold one house next door, and then the house next to the house that my client got in the contract was a mess. So I looked it up and saw that it was in pre foreclosure. Knocked on the door. 3 months later, I listed the home.
That's nice. Well, that's being proactive for sure, and I think that's a lot of what's lacking. If I'm being
Hmm.
honest, a lot of like figure it out yourself. A lot of people looking for shortcuts is the
Resourcefulness.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah, resourcefulness. So I train a lot of agents, man. I
yeah,
also have a YouTube channel, and what what I do on my channel is I just teach from my experience, right? So it's everything that I'm doing because I'm actively selling real estate right now. But what I'm finding is that the modern agent right now, they don't know how to be entrepreneurs. So they don't know how to be resourceful. They don't know how to be entrepreneurs. And that's the beauty of this business, right? Because once you get to a place where you can generate leads and generate business, you can ultimately name your fate, right? Like if you want to sell 100 homes right now, you know exactly
yeah,
what you need to do.
yeah.
You can turn it on and turn it off.
Yep. No, I certainly agree with that. And actually, I did want to touch on one of the things you said about open houses. Obviously, with the new law coming into already coming into effect a few weeks ago now. Um, how do you feel that's going to change as far as for buyer agents?
I'll be 100 with you, Marlon. Dude, I don't feel like anything has changed. Literally nothing has changed. Every buyer, I've listed a couple homes. There have been no objections. We've opened a couple of buyer escrows. Guess what? There's been no objections. There's nothing has changed. It's just now we've been forced to actually have that sit down meeting because a lot of the clients I get might be from social media, from YouTube, or one of the lead sources that I have. So we actually meet at the property a lot of times. But now it's just forcing us to upfront get together and show that value. So honestly, it hasn't been a bad thing. It's actually just been a positive for us.
So it sounds like it's not a problem at all if you're comfortable in what you're doing. If you're an expert, you're
Correct.
not playing the whole fake it till you make it, and you're a prepared agent, because I'm assuming that's what it is. Sometimes it is, it is. It's lack of training, lack of the right kind of mindset or professionalism. That's where agents are losing out on opportunities where someone maybe like yourself and your team is maximizing on that, and obviously
Correct.
leveraging
Yeah.
your experience and your mentors.
Yeah, definitely,
So
man. This is definitely a lifestyle, and you have a lot of folks coming in to the business, especially when they came in during COVID, when it was easier, or even coming in now, and they've seen a couple of television shows, and they think that that's what real estate is going to be like. But no, it's not like that, man. This is a lifestyle, and this is how a lot of us feed our family. So we're going to take it a little more serious than others, and I think that that shows in times like this.
And I agree with that. And I think huge component facing not only agents, those especially that are coming in, of course, um, with no pipeline, but also on the consumer side is the obviously the state of the economy. I don't know how
Mhm.
much you brush up into economic data, how much you use that in in your day to day business, but what do you feel about the state of where the economy is and where it's going, and of course, particularly to how it's relating to interest rates and your business, whether on the consumer side or the agent?
So, as realtors, we're actually in a really good position because shelter is one of the things that everyone needs, right? So, whether the economy is good or bad, closings are happening every day.
Yeah,
Closings are happening every day, whether you like it or not. So I don't get too much in the weeds or get down. You never hear me talking about interest rates on my channels. You never hear me talking about things that I have no control over, because at the end of the day, guess what? Everyone needs a place to live. Everyone needs a home. And I'm just trying to stay positive, and I want to work with the people that want to do something right now, because there's always somebody that needs to do something right now. 50% of everyone that gets married is going to get divorced. So I've been dealing with a lot of divorces lately, right? People are going to pass. So those people need to sell. So I think the key is really just focusing on people that need to do something right now. Mhm. 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 Yeah, so I love tech. And the part of my origin story I leave out, there were two catalysts to me becoming successful. One was building a community at my gym and those people supporting me. Um, and then the other was very early on learning Facebook and Instagram marketing. So running ads. So I've been running ads for a very, very, very long time. So I started running ads back in 2018, 2019, when no one was doing it, generated thousands of leads. And guess what? I called all of them. And I played sports in high school and college, and one thing that was always stressed is reps, right? And I believe a lot of my success came from the reps that I got. So, very early on, I started generating leads. So 5 to 10 leads a day. And I would call all those people and talk to them. So, if you've had 2 or 3 thousand conversations, where do you think my business is going to be versus someone else that hasn't had all those conversations, hasn't had all those reps? So tech is huge, man. So the only way to get to I've been fortunate enough to be an EXP icon, and the only way to get to that, especially in a market like mine where I'm in one of the arguably one of the toughest markets in the country, in terms of prices and all this other stuff. So I have to go through so many people to get to one. And with that being said, I have to have systems in place so that I can follow up with those people. So, I have my own custom built out Go High Level. I love that. Like, I'm obsessed with high level. And yeah, I use tech really to generate leads, follow up, and trigger links and all those other things to figure out who's wanting to do something right now. So you have to have systems in place where you can gather a lot of people, communicate to them, and then literally just be there when they're ready to do something.
Yeah, yeah. No, I obviously that's the business that we're in, and I can't
Hmm.
stress it anymore on just not only being present on social media, but also having those systems in place because the organic stuff is really great, but it's like running a marathon or doing any kind of run. At some point, you're gonna run out of fumes, and you need to re up again. And the same thing with paid ads. It's the same thing on the other side of the coin, where once you stop pumping gas, that's it. You're done for. So with paid ads, it's the same thing. I always say it's a combination of both that you want to leverage. But with that said, before I get more into the paid advertising aspect of it, obviously when you got started in organically, um, what were some of the strategies you leveraged organically? Was it collaborations? Was it specific tools to see what kind of content was popular? Did you
Hmm.
focus on a niche? Because obviously the content that I'm getting for you is definitely more for the real estate side, but
Correct.
that's just what the algorithm is feeding me. But I know that you also you know promote to consumers, and that's probably your overall goal as well.
Yeah, so I, again, I've shifted, right? So in the first part of of the business, it was about me, right? Now it's about we. So I've built a considerable, organization here. So my day to day focus isn't on production, right? So I'm gathering leads and then I'm administering those leads to other people. But in the beginning, again, it was video. So I started doing video very early on when no one else was really doing video. And I always had a local focus, so a community focus. So I built a community at the gym. And just in the last 3, 4 years, I've sold over 30 million to people at the gym. So that was a big catalyst to my success, man. And something I really, 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 really focused on in the beginning was the people at the gym. So that's really where a lot of my marketing went.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I think, so many people are trying so many different things, trying like the
Mhm.
the shotgun strategy where just kind of like take a shot and see where
Yep.
things go. But I think the more narrow, specific way is the better way because, like you're saying, you focus on the little spot and spread your energy in that area. So really cool. What in that sense, what are some of the tools that you are using to follow up on your social media leads? What like it's almost like a human being. You need your heart, you need your stomach, you need your brain. What are some of the tools that you couldn't live your business without? Obviously, we've heard of Go High Level as well, which is an
Yep.
amazing tool. I love it as well. Obviously, that's a great way to really connect a lot of many different things.
Mhm.
But is that the only tool you really use, or what are some of the like you must have tools?
Yeah, so the good news is that that does a lot. I'm still using Calendly, right? Because I'm not really sold on their calendar yet, but I manage my day to day business with a pipeline. So I think if you have a great pipeline and also automations for every step of the pipeline, because here's the thing, dude,
Yeah,
in order to be successful, you have to do volume. You can't, it'd be great if you could work with one person at a time and make enough money, but you can't, you can't. So you have to be working with multiple people at the same time. And the goal is to give those people all the same type of experience. So the catalyst, man, the best thing that I could have ever done is really dive in and really draw out my process, my pipeline, right? Like what happens, how my intake from closing, right? And I separated all that into different stages, and then I built automation around all of it, so at every step every client's getting the same information, the same experience, because at the end of the day we want those people to close, but then we want them to have a certain experience with us so that they refer. because referrals are more likely to close than new people. So I mean, that's how you build a big business, right? You have to have people that you constantly following up with, but then you have to have new people constantly coming in, and that's the difference. And that's why you want to give everybody the same, if not the best experience ever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely like one of the craziest things because when you really think about it, if you don't have those systems in place, then the efforts that you're doing online, whether it's organic or paid, really go to waste.
Yeah, man. And as realtors, again, especially for people getting into this, you start to realize, oh my God, the number of things that we have to do as a real estate agent, right? It's like, am I a content creator? Am I an
Yeah,
accountant? Like what am I? And
a
it's
therapist.
that's the thing. You're everything until
Yeah.
you get to a point where you can start hiring people to do certain things, man. So you have to get organized fast. And I
So
think that
with
one of
that,
the
with sorry to break you up, but with that said, obviously, especially if you're getting started, you need a job. If you're not making money in real estate, you need a job because you're going to need to pay for some tools that sometimes are free, sometimes they're not. But it obviously
Mhm.
sounds like if you don't have the money, you're going to also you have to either invest time to get out there, like you say, whether it's joining a gym and socializing with the people around you, or you're going to leverage paid media, like obviously you were doing back in 2018 before people were really
Yep.
doing it. So there's
Yep.
definitely multiple ways about going it. It sounds like you looked under every rock and you tried it all, which I think for most people it's a good thing to do because maybe for someone door knocking does work, where it didn't in
Yeah.
your case. But there's definitely like that attitude of just like I'm gonna get it done regardless of whatever wall I gotta go through, and that's like really what I keep getting back from like everything you're saying, where it's like I've tried this, I've tried that, but wouldn't have mattered what I did. I was gonna make it work.
Yeah. Again, what I found out early on was that it's going to either be sweat equity or check equity. And in the beginning, I didn't have the check, right? So it was all me until I could afford to bring on somebody. And, if I could do anything different, the one thing I would do different is I would have bought on VAs much earlier on, much, much, much
It's a
earlier
great
on.
topic. It's a great topic. I'm glad
Yep.
you brought that up. I mean,
Much
if
earlier
that's
on.
certainly true, um, what would be the right, you know, roles to outsource when you are getting
Yeah.
started? Because I know getting an editor, a videographer, a photographer, it all gets really pricey. But if
Yes.
you were obviously getting started, trying to get something going on, maybe on YouTube, which obviously I'm pretty sure it's one of the platforms you'd recommend. What are some of those
Mhm.
essentials?
Yeah. So first of all, it's going to be a TC. I meet so many agents, and I hate to say this sometimes, and it sounds really bad, but I've never TC'd a file. Like people ask me, how do you use SkySlope? I don't know. I know it's a great tool. I've never TC'd a file because that's not something that I need to do. So I think that's the first piece you need is a great TC. So hire a TC. Let them do the paperwork so you can get out there and get going. Next thing you want to hire is a VA, or I mean, the in person is very expensive, but I would hire an administrative VA. That would be next. And then the third one I would hire is a video VA. So here's the thing. Your phone is great. Some of the best videos I have were created with my phone. So you can shoot the content with your phone, but don't get caught up trying to edit it when you can get people to edit videos for 25, $30 per video. So those are the three you could hire really in my market. If you're closing one deal a month, you could hire those two because
Yeah.
that's going to cost you less than $1,000 a month for those two positions.
Yeah, and I think people worry about, when they look at someone's page like yourself, maybe on Instagram, they're going, "Whoa, that's a lot of videos." Um, Whoa, one second.
Technical difficulties.
Oh yeah, there we go. It happened. I mentioned it would happen. I'm sorry it did. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Okay, one
Yeah,
second.
you can't compare. your day one to my day 355, right? Like you just can't do it. I would not do that to myself if I was somebody new. But I've been doing video for for a long time, so that starts to compile. It starts to
Yeah.
compile, but where you can start with doing video is just on your listings. When you do a listing, make sure you always do video, and then when that listing is done, I would always make sure I get the raw video
Yeah.
from the videographer, because you can do so much, especially in today's world where it's the 6 to 8 seconds, with trending sound. Boom, you got content for a month now from every listing.
Yeah, 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 and I also, to add to that, really, I would say always concentrating on quality over quantity, so
Hmm.
that those videos that you are doing, maybe they're not in the volume level yet, but the quality is good enough that the algorithm will keep promoting it for you over time,
Hmm.
especially if you're using a platform like YouTube, which you're on a lot. So yeah, I honestly am really glad you touched up on that, because that's, I think, goes hand in hand with a lot of the other stuff. But what last thing I really wanted to get your thoughts on when it comes to marketing and social media before we move on to the next topic quickly is on the paid advertising side of things. Obviously, you've tried paid advertising, you've done it yourself. I'm sure you've got
Hmm.
a team now doing it for you. Obviously, for someone just getting started, they can't afford to have someone do it for them. What are some of the platforms you would recommend? What are some of the strategies you see that are working for you that you would try for someone, again, trying to get their business going now?
Yeah, Facebook, definitely Facebook. So Meta ads. And here's the thing: it's gotten so much easier over the years. Now, the less you do, the better. So, I'm still a huge proponent of meta ads, and I still run them, right? And I run them for other people. But literally, I think that's all you need. So I wouldn't don't boost, but you need to get into the ads manager and learn to run ads. That was one of the first skills I learned. And I used a program called Udemy. So I used Udemy, and then there was another Skillshare. When I first started real estate, I had 250 followers on Instagram, and I said, you know what? I'm going to grow this. So I went to Skillshare and Udemy and took courses. And you can take courses in there for a low monthly fee. Probably the one of the most slept on, two of the most slept on, like,
Yeah, yeah.
resources.
Udemy, you could, for $10, you get a whole entire course on
Yes,
something. So,
exactly.
yeah, like, again, you got to be hungry. You got to want it. Obviously, if you're trying to be the top producer, let's say in a music industry, you're gonna probably it's gonna benefit you to learn a few instruments,
Hmm.
right? I mean, if
Yep.
you just play the piano, you might be limited. So the same thing as a realtor. I mean, yes, maybe your job title says you sell houses, you list and sell houses, but yeah,
You're a
you've got
marketer
to,
first.
yeah, you're doing a
Yeah.
whole lot
So
of different things. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that's really good for people to know. Obviously, there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook, there's Google, but I think, like
mhm,
you're saying, Facebook is a great way because a lot of people still spending their time on Facebook, whether it's
mhm.
Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, there's a lot of great strategies you can leverage on there. So moving on, because we don't have a lot of time here with you, and I don't want to take too long. I definitely wanted to touch into the things of the future of real estate. Um, where do you think everything is going with, like, crypto and tokens and being able to, maybe buy a house with Bitcoin in the future? Is that something you see, in the near future? Or is that something we're not thinking about until maybe 10, 20 years out?
No, I think the differentiator right now, there's price and then there's speed, right? So I think the market's moving to speed. Think about Amazon, right? Like, what put Amazon on the map?
Yeah.
The one button to buy now and then get it to you the same day or next day, right? And I think the same thing is happening in real estate. So I think that's where the industry is heading, to speed, right? Like, a lot of my
Right.
deals, I try to close them in 12 to 15 days, and I definitely think that it could get faster. So I think that's going to be one thing, but also I think teams teams are going to get bigger, right? Because like I mentioned, there's so many things that you have to do to be competitive. And now, everyone's on Instagram. So if you're trying to grow a brand on Instagram, it's really tough now. It's really tough. And if you're thinking about, all the video and all that other stuff you kind of have to put out, it's really tough, really expensive
Yeah.
to do all that stuff, man. So I think people need the support of a team so that they can focus on, getting out there and closing deals, and then the team can worry about all the other aspects of the business.
So if someone is starting out, you would highly suggest or recommend they join a team.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Man, if I wouldn't have joined that team, who knows? I mean, I know I would have figured it out, but
Yeah.
you know, when I joined it, it was at a time out of necessity. So my found out that my wife was we thought that she was pregnant, and I was like, I need to go fast. And joining a team was that, right? Because when like I mentioned before, I went to undergrad and I got an MBA. Every summer I had an internship. What makes real estate so different? Right? So what I did, I took the same approach. I thought of it as an internship. So I took a year and a half as an internship to really learn the business and learn from somebody who had been where I was trying to go. I took all that information, put my spin on it, and then that's how I got the result that I got.
One of the things I definitely want people to keep taking away from this is again that like mindset that keep like exuding at every moment. So regardless of like what real estate is going to throw you in the future, whether it's new laws, whether it's technology, whatever that is, that's going to be a key component really in just like having any kind of success. And on that tip, obviously that totally did make sense, but beyond picking a team, I realized myself close to a year ago that picking a brokerage is almost just as harder than I think taking the real estate exam. Like
Yeah.
people dread the exam, and then once the exam is over with, then it's like, oh wait, now I got to pick a brokerage, and there's all this stuff that
Mhm.
I need to know. Um, Obviously, you weren't always with EXP. Why just
Mhm.
switch to EXP? Why are you obviously leveraging the platform that they've given you to also, talk about it to other agents to also join EXP with you?
Yeah, yeah. So a couple things. I have this saying: I like to keep the easy things easy, the simple things simple. So literally, I went and I took my exam. I passed my test. As soon as I passed my test, there was no thought process. Right. I went to where I was doing my school at. Right. My real estate school. So I went there. And here's the thing: successful people are going to be successful wherever they go. I talk a lot of crap about this one brokerage. Century 21, right? Because I feel like they're really out of touch. But right now, I could go to Century 21 and I would be successful, right? So I'm going to be successful wherever I go. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take me. So I did really well at KW, but then I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm always going to be looking for the best opportunity there is out there. And I saw the EXP model, and I said to myself, man, if this is real, like this is going to be a game changer. So I immediately just made the decision and made the switch. Right? Why? Because here's the thing. I read this book, and it's called Pivot. When I was getting into real estate, and there
Mm.
was there was one blurb in the book, and it talked about it talked about burning the ships, but also it talked about how hard is it for you to fall back into your same comfortable position, right? So my thought was, let me go try this out, and guess what? If it doesn't work, I can go back. They would have a freaking parade for me if I came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so many
They're
agents
probably
again.
hoping. They're probably like, yeah, go ahead, leave. We know you'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so many people are not thinking about themselves as an entrepreneur. So, and they're worried about, really the burning the relationship and all those stuff. But at the end of the day, this is my business. So I had to make the best business decision, and it changed my life, man. Like, I thought that I was going to have to be, own all this real estate to be financially free and have all this passive income when literally all I had to do was change the logo on my card. You know what I mean? And do the same things that I was doing and
Right.
just help people, man. Because here's the thing, you know, because you sell a lot of homes doesn't mean you're a great leader, and that's fine. I always knew that I was meant for leadership. So when I saw this opportunity to go out and be able to be a leader and help other people succeed, because I was already doing it where I was at before, I just wasn't benefiting from it, right? The brokerage was benefiting from it every time
Right.
someone that I helped closed a deal. So I just saw an opportunity in the market, man, to really, lead others and also help myself. So that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean it's the only brokerage I think where you could build equity as well at the same time through stocks and whatnot, and it's a right rev share program, which is probably one of the only other ones. But what do you say? Obviously, with the competition with with
Mhm.
other newer online brokerages that are popping up like Real, obviously, I'm
Mhm.
sure you've been pitched. Um, why have you decided to stay loyal?
A couple things. One, no one ever calls me, so no, I haven't been pitched. But here's the thing: we're in a fair market, right? And I love that there's more people coming because guess what it does? It only validates that what we're doing is the right thing. If what we were doing was not successful, you would not have copycats, right? And then here's the thing: people talk about real. Real's been around since 2014, so they're not new. They're not new. They just got really good at video lately,
Hmm.
and they started bringing on some influencers that have really started pushing the brand, but they're not new. So I've known about them probably since 2018, 2019. I actually knew about them before I knew about EXP. So
Look at that.
what's kept me here is what's going to keep anybody anywhere. It's the people, right? Like
Culture.
there's nothing different in any of these models. They're trying to replicate what EXP has done, and only time will tell if what they're doing is right, because a lot of these guys still aren't profitable, and maybe that's their model, not to be profitable yet, and at some point they're going to have to become profitable. But when they
Yeah.
do that, things are going to change. So that's just my thought process, man. Like if it ain't broke, I don't need to fix it. But best believe if there was something better out there, like that's where I would be. And because it's not just me, right? Like I said, it's not me, it's we, and I'm going to do what's right for me and my people.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something to respect. And obviously, the last question we really have on the future of real estate would be: do you think technology is going to replace the realtor, the agent,
No,
ever?
man. They've tried to replace people again. If you've sold 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 homes, you have experience with people and you have experiences or have had closings that if it wasn't for you being in this position, that family would not have been able to close or purchase that home. So you're always going to need people in the transaction. And again, time and time again, the market is learning that you cannot do this without real estate agents.
Yeah, yeah, I am one to second that. I agree.
Mhm.
Um, and actually, before we go into the last segment of the show, is there anything else? Maybe any questions I didn't ask you? Anything that maybe you'd like to share with our audience? Maybe like I said, a question I didn't ask, or something maybe that you think will benefit them in their business.
Again, I think the biggest thing is just being resourceful. Like if
Yeah,
it's important enough, you become the resource. Also, you got to be like married to your success in this business, right? Like it's not anybody else's job. You can't blame anybody else for you not being successful. And I see it so many times where people try to blame the brokerage or try to blame another person for their success. You're an entrepreneur. And here's the thing: we're in a day and age where every answer to your question is at your fingertips. Every answer to your question is at your fingertips. You learn by doing. So get out there and try. And as you try, you'll have questions. And guess what? You can ask those questions to ChatGPT. You can ask those questions to a mentor. You can go to my channel. You can go to your channel, and you can get answers to all those questions. So that's, be resourceful.
Yeah, yeah, no, there's definitely tons of other avenues we could have taken here, including artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and all that stuff. But honestly, I like to keep these, not too long and just enough for where people can consume and digest the information. Hopefully, implement them, because that's the whole purpose of the show as well. So, with that said, we're going to go into the last segment of the show. This here I call the 10 Lipton questions. I don't know if you know, but outside of the marketing agency, the podcast, and the real estate that I do, I also am an actor. And growing up, there was a show I used to watch called The Actor Studio, and it was hosted by James Limpton. That's where the name comes from. And he would ask these 10 questions at the end of the show to all his guests, which you can imagine are
Okay.
all A-listers: Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, all the likes. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. These are the first thing that pops into your head. Um, and yeah, here we go. The 10 Lipton questions. Question number one: what is your favorite word?
Hmm. I don't know, man. The word that I use the most is probably one of my kids' names, right? So, or mom. There you go, mom. That's my favorite word, mom.
Yeah, that's
Mom.
a good one, and
I've
an
used that word
original
more
one
than
too. I gotta say, yeah,
right.
someone usually says something more in the motivational category, which is fine. But I love that's unique. Um, the antithetical. What? No, question number two: what is your least favorite word?
Stress.
Yeah,
Stress.
don't
Yeah.
nobody like stress. I'm with you. Question number three: what turns you on?
Success, man. I love the process of chasing down a sale. I love the process of closing the deal. So I love success, man.
Yeah, I love it. Great answer. Question number four: what turns you off?
Again, what I talked about earlier, just people not being resourceful, no motivation, negativity. Can't stand to be around it.
Yeah, that's a big pet peeve for mine. I'm like, could you have Googled it, especially nowadays, because you have ChatGPT'd it? That's come on. All right. Question number five: what sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise do I love?
Yeah, you see, so these get you thinking.
Yes, what sound or noise do I love? Man,
There you go.
I don't
See,
know. That's a
we told you
that's a
these were gonna be ball busting questions.
yeah, that's a good one. I guess the sound of the cash register, right? Cha-ching.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Hey, that's mine. So, all right. What's the sound or noise you hate?
Oh man, it has to be like styrofoam, like that. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. These are very good and unique answers I'm getting here today. Question number seven: what is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Fuck. That's a popular one. Yes. All right. Question number seven. I'm sure you can imagine what. Actually, no, that's a very different one. No, question number eight: what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I wanted to be a fireman, dude.
What?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I wanted to be a fireman, and it they had a moratorium on hiring firemen when I first moved out to California, and when it opened back up, I was basically making too much money. I couldn't take the pay cut, you know?
Right. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. That's an awesome one. Obviously, a very high risk career.
Mhm.
Question number nine: what profession would you not like to do?
What I not like to do, honestly, I couldn't see myself working in corporate America again. I'm basically unhireable at this point. Like I just could not
Yeah. Yeah.
go work. a corporate job, it would just be hard, man,
Be
because
stuck in a building 9 to 5.
and bad poor leadership, right? Like
Mhm.
at this point, after you've done all these jobs and had a level of success, you can point out poor leadership, and I've had some poor leaders, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I almost hate having that foresight because almost everywhere I go, I'm thinking that everyone needs to have that same type of, carry themselves the same way.
Mhm.
And yeah, some leaders, it stems from the head, right, from the leaders. And sometimes you just go, man, I'm not even gonna waste my time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get that one. And finally, our last and final question, number 10. If, and my favorite as well, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I mean, you fulfilled your destiny. You did everything you were supposed to do.
All right, that I love that answer. It almost tells me like there's definitely, you're not just mindlessly waking up every day and taking action. Sounds like you got a purpose that you're after, and I think that shows throughout all of our entire interview. Again, like you were saying, how to be resourceful, have a go-getter mindset, and most importantly, try everything under the rock. See what works for you. But
Hmm.
that's certainly just some of the three things I will mention that I took away from a whole interview. But there's a whole ton. So hopefully, for those of you watching now, definitely come back, watch again, and listen to it, because there's definitely tons of takeaways from the show. Well, this was an amazing interview. Really, thank you for coming on here, taking the time to share your knowledge, share your wealth of knowledge, really. And of course, if some of our followers, if they for some reason aren't following you already, where could they follow you to stay up to updated with your daily stuff?
Yeah, so YouTube, I'm actually more present on YouTube than I am on Instagram nowadays, but I got some stuff coming, so stay locked in. But on YouTube, you can find me at just Will Higgins, and then on Instagram, I'm Will Higgins. So again, been kind of slow on Instagram, but it's gonna pick up. Got some things I'm working on that should be dropping here pretty soon.
All right, awesome. Well, certainly, it's been a pleasure having you on here, Will. Thank you so much, and of course, sorry for the hiccups and technical issues. You've been a sport, so thank you to you, and thank you to the audience watching and listening as well. It's been fun having you here, Will. Until next time, we'll be following you on your journey, and thank you for sharing so much. Until the next time, thank you so much.
Have a good one, brother. See ya.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here for New School Marketing Podcast for Real Estate Pros. It's been a really good one here. I'll be for sure re-watching the whole thing as well and taking notes. So definitely stay tuned. There'll be definitely more episodes coming on here. We'll definitely try to keep these going every 2 weeks. But if worst case scenario we get too crazy over here on our end, you can bet on at least one episode a month. So until next time, guys. Thank you very much, and see you soon.